Last three are doing union and intersection of intervals. Here they said if it's empty, write that empty set symbol. The sets F and H are defined as follows. F is a set, and this is red, X, such that X is greater than 1. Just means that my variable is X and I'm applying the rule that X has to be greater than 1. If I put that on my number line, 0 somewhere in the middle, then I have 1, I'd have an open circle, and I'm going everything going that way, right? H is the set X such that X is less than or equal to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On 6 I'd have a filled in dot, and I'm going everything going this way. Then they want you to do the union and the intersection of your two sets. This is the symbol for union, looks like a U. This is a symbol for intersection. So, if I do F-U-H, F union H, I want every number that is included in either one of my sets. Well, this set goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on. This set goes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and so on. And so what ends up happening is that I've shaded every number going to the right, I've shaded every number going to the left. I went from negative infinity to positive infinity. We did that interval notation thing. We said if we're doing infinity, it has to have a parenthesis. And so my answer is going to look like that. Now my intersection is where those things overlap, or what numbers they have in common. In this case, they had these numbers here in the middle in common, right? So it really started here with the 1 and went to here with the 6 that I didn't write down. So my interval is going to go from 1 to 6, but I have to use those brackets and parentheses we used before. I don't think that one's plugged in.
Oh, that's fine.
Try one of the end ones. If it had an open circle, we use the parenthesis because that meant we aren't exactly on that number. So the 1 is going to have a parenthesis. If it had the filled in dot, we use that bracket because that meant we do include that number. The 6 is included in both of our lists. Remember using those notations before? Parenthesis. Parenthesis means you're not on the number. The bracket means you are exactly on the number. So number 17 says the set B and C are defined below as follows. B is the set Y such that Y is less than or equal to 4. So if I have my number line, wherever 4 is, I'm less than or equal to the 4, so I have a filled in dot on the 4. I'm doing everything going to the left. C is the set Y such that Y is less than 9. Well, 9 would be over here somewhere. On 9, I'm going to have an open circle. And again, I'm doing everything to the left. This time they want you to do the intersection first. B intersection C. I think the intersection's easier to see anyway. When you're doing the intersection, you want to see where they overlap each other. Like up here, where we had both the green and the blue, they were overlapping here in the middle. So I want to look at my number line to figure out where do those two lines overlap each other, from where to where. From 4 down to negative infinity, but since we like to read from left to right, we're going to go from negative infinity to the 4. Infinity is going to have what beside it? What end mark? Nope. The parenthesis, because we can't ever be on infinity. So infinity always has a parenthesis on it. You never reach infinity. The 4 is going to have the bracket because we are equal to the 4. It had that filled in dot. When we're doing B union C, that's everything that's in either list. So anything that got shaded on your number line. Again, if you look from left to right, they're shading down here, and it's shaded all the way up to the 9. There's nothing shaded after the 9, right? So my union is going from the negative infinity to the 9. Negative infinity is going to have what end mark? Parenthesis. Infinity always has a parenthesis because you can't be on it. The 9 is going to have what kind of end mark? A parenthesis because it has that open circle there. I didn't quite make it to the 9, right? So think about intersection. Where do the two things overlap each other? Union, anything that got shaded on my number line. So we had one where they crossed over in the middle, one where they both arrows pointed in the same direction, and the third one we got here, if my board won't go up very far, I'll just draw it up a little higher, says V is less than 3 for my set D. So wherever 3 is at, I'm going to have an open circle, and I'm going to shade everything to the left. C is the set that V is greater than or equal to 8. So wherever 8 is, I'm greater than or equal to the 8, so I have a filled in dot, and I'm doing everything this way. It wants me to do the union, and then it wants me to do the intersection. But I'm going to do the intersection first because I think the intersection is easier. Where do those two things intersect each other? They don't, right? There's a hole in the middle of those two things. So my intersection is going to be like on that one where we listed the numbers and they didn't have anything in common. We use that empty set symbol. The union of my sets. I want to list all the things in both of my sets. Well, because there's a space in the middle, I have a set that goes from here to here, and then I have a second set that starts at 8 and goes to the other end. So I'm going to have two parts to my answer. Two parts of my graph got shaded. The first section went from negative infinity to 3, right? Negative infinity should have what end mark? Parenthesis. The 3 has what end mark? Has what one? Parenthesis. It's an open circle, has a parenthesis. That's one of the sections on my graph that got shaded. I'm going to join them with the union symbol, which is going to be one of your choices over on the right. Then I'm going to do my other set. My other set starts at 8 and goes to the end of my graph, which is positive infinity. The 8 is going to have what kind of end mark? Bracket. And infinity is going to have what kind of end mark? The parenthesis. So those are basically the three ways you're going to see them. Either where they overlap each other in the middle, where they got a hole in the middle like that one did, or where they're both going in the same direction. So at least you'll have kind of an example of each one, so when you're working on your pie chart, make sure you're looking at those and saying, okay, which one of these three does this look like after you have it drawn? Then your answer should look somewhat similar to the answers that look the same. All right. We'll go ahead and work till about 10 o'clock, and then we'll do the next page. If you've got those union and intersection ones, you might want to try those because those are